And I'm Zanti. Welcome to it as we have yet another episode of GameON with no changes in as far as the leading sides in Germany, England, as well as here in South Africa. I am Caesar Mapena, joined by Jerry Skosana a bit later to discuss the South African game and to discuss what's happening firstly in England. At the room, I have Shane McGregor sitting alongside me. And Shane, we are almost at the end of the road in as far as just the league race is concerned. Liverpool so close to the finish line. You can almost taste it, I'm sure, as a fan.
Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, definitely can taste it, you know. When you need 1 point in 5 games, it says a lot. Mm-hmm. Hopefully it'll be done this weekend at Anfield.
That's the big thing. At home, in Anfield, chance to win it. What does it tell you about the team spirit when you read about the side, watching the game, I think the Arsenal game, a couple of games back, as a team, to know what they needed in the next match? The fact that they got together as a team to watch that game, what does it tell you?
Well, you know, it's just, I would have done it as well, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's part of the whole thing and the way they are. You talk about team togetherness. If you saw what happened in their last game when they won 1-0 and Trent Alexander-Arnold scored the goal, if you see Van Dijk, the captain, and this is the true meaning of a captain, he pushed him forward towards the fans to take the accolades because he knows, you know, he's been taking flack. So that just shows you where Liverpool are.
We've discussed Salah, Van Dijk, another that's confirmed his long-term future or maybe immediate future going forward to Liverpool. Your thoughts on those signings, especially this late with Liverpool almost over the line? How much is just helping push them over the line? And as far as just unity with your leaders there? Well,
you know, it's unity for next season, basically, and also just to keep things going. You know, you want to be finding players that can come in and fill their roles. So, yeah, it's good for Liverpool. Obviously, still quiet on the Trent pattern, but I think he's going to be going.
All right, let's talk top four. Big talking point is the top four race, of course. Manchester City are back in the reckoning. They had the 2-0 win away at Everton, who have come up with some impressive results of late in recent times.
Very good win for them.
Yeah.
I watched the game, in actual fact. They were worth the win. You know, Everton have been playing well this season, but City were just too good. You know, they've come right at the right time. And if you look at them, they've adjusted to having lost a lot of players, and it's made a big difference now. And you can see, I mean, De Bruyne played as a striker, but a false nine. So, yeah, good result for them.
And a rather very impressive result is Aston Villa beating Newcastle 4-1 at home. But this is that Newcastle that's been on that incredible run in recent times. And for Aston Villa, this was quite a message, but still they find themselves 7th on the log standings. Things are that tough.
Things are that tough and that close at the top there.
Yeah.
But, I didn't see a 4-1 victory there for Aston Villa, I must be honest. I thought it would be a lot closer. I don't know what happened to Newcastle. Newcastle are like that. They seem to blow hot and cold at times. We'll see what happens now if they can bounce back. But it was a good win for Villa. Give them a small chance to end up in that top 4-5 position.
Chelsea with a 2-1 win over Fulham, away at Craven Cottage.
Away at Craven Cottage,
yeah.
It's a very good result. And also they seem to be formed at the right time, getting the results. But, you know, Chelsea.
Last week you discussed Arsenal having to balance and the focus mostly being on the Champions League. There's a 4-0 win over Ipswich over the weekend, 2-2 against Palace recently.
Yeah, they played Palace on Wednesday night and drew 2-2. I actually watched this game during the week. And, you know, when you look at the two sides, you could see that they had other things in mind. I mean, obviously Arsenal got Champions League. Palace have got a big FA Cup game on the weekend. And you could see the teams they put out, the way they played, the tackles weren't flying in as much as they normally would be. It was a very much, let's get this game over with and plan for the weekend and for next week type thing.
Nottingham Forest had the beating of Tottenham Hotspur with a 2-1 scoreline, of course, staying in the top 4 race. Forest with that impressive result away at Tottenham.
Yeah, well, everyone's beating Tottenham. Tottenham, you know. I'm surprised the manager's still there, to be very honest. Yeah, I know they've had a lot of injury worries. I know they've had this, that. But for me, they've just been underachieving the whole season. Whether he's going to be there next year, I'm not too sure. But they've been very disappointing.
Well, we speak of Tottenham because they've got the big game this weekend. Tomorrow, they of course are away to Liverpool, and Liverpool will be looking to get it all done and dusted. Huge game, that's the biggest game of the weekend, of course.
Yeah, obviously 1 point is needed by Liverpool, you know, and at Anfield. They want to do it for the fans. There will be a party afterwards if they do. I just feel that Liverpool will be too good, and they've got too much to play for. And they are a professional team. I'm not saying that Tottenham aren't, but Liverpool know what they have to do, and they'll go out and do it. There will be a few nerves. But you know what, that'll quickly be sorted out once the game starts. I think they'll get the job done, and a big celebration to start.
so much I want to speak to you about Liverpool, but let's wait for those celebrations and we'll speak about that on the other side of this. Chelsea-Everton quickly, that hopeful race.
Sure, it's a difficult one, you know.
Yeah.
Chelsea been hot and cold. I think it draws on the cards in this one.
Newcastle-Ipswich?
Newcastle won. Ipswich are gone. Yeah, they've got nothing to play for, but at the end of the day, I think Newcastle have got more to play for than Ipswich, so yeah.
Well, for my brothers in arms, just to find out your thoughts, Bournemouth at home to Manchester United.
Easy game for Bournemouth. Come up against a team that are why are you laughing? I mean,
easy game, easy game. I mean, this one in Europe the other day.
I know that everyone says to me, the unbeaten team in Europe is Manchester United.
Sure.
For goodness sake, at home.
At home.
You know, they haven't, Bournemouth at home, but I mean, I do think Bournemouth will beat them. I really do. I just don't see this Man United team getting a result. So.
Have to agree with you there. Let's talk about Wolves and Leicester City in a game of huge interest, of course, with Leicester being in the position they are, 19th, with just 18 points for now.
Yeah, you know, Wolves, how good have they been? I mean, I think they've won their last 5 in a row. They've turned it around completely. They were too good a side to be in that relegation battle.
Yeah, they were.
They really were. And I mean, it just shows you 1 or 2 players come back from injury and what difference it makes. They're going to build, and they're going to use this as a building stone for next season. And you'll see a different Wolves next season. They're going to be bringing a few players in. I can't see them not winning this one, and winning quite well, I think.
So we'll be interested in what's happening at the bottom. And of course, we'll all be wondering if this is the weekend, if by tomorrow we'll be helping Liverpool celebrate what will be another, awe-inspiring, I think it's safe to say, championship win. So few gave them a chance at the start of this current campaign. So we take a short break, come back. On the other side of this, we discuss the local game. Jerry Skosana will step up.
Even my Gogo can kick better than that.
Wanna bet?
You are on.
Breaking news. Gogo takes a prize challenge to a penalty shootout.
Aziz again.
Let's go.
Brian looks confident here. What? He's completely missed it. Here comes Gogo. And what a kick! She's done it! She's done the impossible! Hollywoodbets, Azisheke, let's play.
Welcome back to GameON, and well, the saying back in the 90s was local as lekker, and it doesn't get better than South African football. Of course, we've got Jerry Skosana to help us break down what's been happening over the last week or so, and look forward as well to the upcoming fixtures. We're playing Chiefs, the Chippa United, or rather, should I say, Chippa United, the Kaizer Chiefs. Last week, how do you see this game? When I want to know, it's difficult to tell. I don't know, but Chiefs Sundowns, when I want to know, it's difficult to tell. What want it wrong? But Chiefs finally that break up when I want to know. And now we're back to the score line, like you predicted.
You know, Sizo, sometimes if Bowkona lapho kule bhola wake wadlala as a player, ubheka phela attitude yalabantu ukuthi no man, lama player with Chiefs, more under pressure they want to perform. But when things sit on them and they expect everything to roll nicely, that's why behlisa ama cards. That's why I insisted ukuthi I don't think this Chiefs edlala against Sundowns winning 2-1 izoshaya iChippa. I mean, I saw it coming. I saw it coming because of the experience of being there before.
Uthi, when they're under pressure, aren't they under pressure now to go top 8? And to confirm a top 8 spot.
They are under pressure.
Yeah.
They are under pressure, but
so it should translate
with the players' attitude.
Okay.
You know, sometimes we cannot blame the technical team or the head coach, honestly speaking, because as a player, I know ukuthi uma kuphi, uma ufuna ama results abe right. It's all about wena. You understand? So it Chiefs as a group in terms of players, I think that's where they don't have it, honestly. Because it's all about individualism, and you'll never play this game if players are not together. So it's something which I've seen. When Chiefs are playing and the supporters are there, when one player is not doing well, there's nobody that will carry that player at least to get the results because omunye wethu. That's why it's not happening at Chiefs.
They won their 6th straight game at home. Against TS Galaxy, not just any team here. TS Galaxy is a solid side in the PSL. Got 6 straight wins at home, and they're now 11th on the log standings. What a turnaround for Makisi since Owen the figure up.
I mean, we spoke about this Gule show before. I said it to myself to say, for Makesi to move their games to Sishiko, it's going to be a good thing for them. I've said it before. So, sometimes if you know this game and you look at aspects of what's going to happen, you always know and put the right predictions to say this team will do well. And this is what Amakesi are doing so far. Stadium. The advantage for both.
It is just playing inside foot now that wanted to pull away from the bottom of the table. Cape Town City's got problems. It is just 1-0, just pull away. Cape Town City right down towards the bottom, the SuperSport United, they're 14th, SuperSport United 15th. Kunzima lapha Cape Town.
No, Gunzima, even Nasepitori. These are the two teams that you wouldn't even
you wouldn't
think they are fighting to be in the top 8.
Yeah.
But Buga Manj, they are down there. Both clubs that are well supported, they've got a good structure, good management. Abu committees, Lapagu, Cape Town City. When I was watching the game, Mabam Kipagu screen with the sun, it was just...
But no win in the last 5, even in these difficult times. They have to somehow find a way to turn it around.
Getting worse because you've even changed the coach.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse and worse. So what is it that John Committees is sitting with in his head? I don't know. But really, this is not the Cape Town City that you'd expect to see there. And also their performance. Looking at the players that they've produced for so many teams in this league,
Former Cape Town City coach Eric Tinkler, Lapeskukune United, with the 2-0 win over Polokwane City. Of course, Lamasai Laoi too, they've entertained us so much this season, but is Kukune doing their best to stay in the top 4, the number 3 on the lot now?
Good performance.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, even if they did change the coach, you would look at CMO was not that bad. We don't know what happened. Maybe there are amanyama issues. But for me, I'll give credit to the players the way they respond because, yes, they lost the coach that was doing well for them, but they also continue with the new coach to do well for them. So it shows in terms of the players. They want to play than the person that is leading them.
So namhlanje 3 o'clock, Marumukalen bavakashela Kaizer Chiefs with the Chiefs needing to start to put together a few wins in a row here just to be safe come the end of the season with top 8.
From the result of Abuyaguyo against the Chipa, this is the one that I can give to them. You will see the change. Chiefs are going to walk away with this one. Chiefs are going to beat TS Galaxy.
Oh, Marumukalen, you mean?
That's correct. Marumukalen says.
SuperSport United under a tremendous amount of pressure. They travel away to Polokwane to play Polokwane City.
Difficult for SuperSport. Polokwane City will win that one.
Golden Arrows, of course, they're chasing Kaizer Chiefs to a top 8 position. Yamazulu, they're just ahead of Kaizer Chiefs. So pressure on both these sides. As far as top 8, we manage the game. It's a derby as well. Derby.
Yes, but I think give Golden Arrows the win against Amazulu. Yep.
Now, Galaxy, 36 points. Skukune, 40 points. Stellenbosch, 38 points. So if Galaxy want to get into a top 4 spot, get into the chats, the top 4, they play at home against Skukune. This should be a good game.
It's going to be a good game. That's going to be a good game. That's why I can also say, kulang bona konitro.
Galaxy, the way it is never been a corner. Maybe they were struggling, of course, with the coach having left and some of their major players having left. I think izinto Zambia as smoothly as they have. Towards the end, they're fighting for a top 4 spot.
Well, it's a good attitude. If maybe the inner side of the team, they are sitting about it and then discussing it, it comes better when the leadership is good. So I think for me, I'll give credit to the technical team. They are doing well.
Well, of course, this is two Spezulu. Number 3. Let me include Stellenbosch now. This is Africa. Let's just talk about balancing, man. League is tough. Top 4 race is tough. And good tough on the continent in the semi-finals, as you've seen. How do you see Paris and the Sundowns being affected? Now, Stellenbosch by their time on the continent.
I don't think there is anything that they will be affected with. Honestly speaking, these are the same 3 teams that travel the same road that they are in this time. That was last season. I mean, they were like top 3. They were all involved in certain cups and they did well. They stayed as the top 3 teams. So I think it's still going to stay like that.
So, Jerisco Sana making a good point in that, for Sundowns, it's pretty much the same as the last season in battling it out of the continent and at home. Pirates are still in the Nedbank Cup until the latter stages. Stellenbosch, of course, in uncharted territory in the way of the African adventures, and we wish all of those teams well in the future and seeing out the season and their season's ambitions. So, that's our look at what's happening here at home with Jerisco Sana. We'll take a break. When we come back, it's Shane McGregor. We talk about the Germans. Welcome back to Game On. Time to bring Shane back into the mix, and we're talking about what's happening out in Germany. And it's interesting when you look at the top of the table, Shane, in that Bayern are keeping their necks firmly, or their foot firmly on the necks of Leverkusen with a 4-0 win over Heidenheim, keeping the pressure, of course, on Leverkusen.
Yeah, obviously Bayern, want to win their title, and they just keep on doing the result, getting the results. Leverkusen keep on failing, but Bayern, they know how to do it at the end, and they're going to keep on winning. Title's theirs, basically.
Yeah.
I can't see them not winning it, but it's just a matter of time when they win it. If they win on the weekend and Leverkusen don't win their game, they'd be crowned champions.
Well, since the turn of the year, we've talked about Leverkusen being under pressure not to drop points. They got up to St. Pauli, they played to a 1-1 scoreline, and it's just one of those weeks where time and time again when Bayern do the business, Leverkusen not necessarily lose, but don't get maximum points as well. It's that tight.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is when Bayern have slipped up and drawn games, Leverkusen haven't. They've also drawn. Yeah. And that's been their biggest Achilles heel this season for Leverkusen, is that they've drawn too many games. They've kept the pressure on, they've kept going, and they will keep on fighting. They're always like that, but they just haven't got over the line in certain games, draws, So we'll see. There is talk, and this is what worries me for them going forward, is that Alonso's looking to move on.
Yeah.
And the interesting fact is, if he goes to one of these former clubs that he played at, they will allow him to go for a nominal fee, let him go because he signed a longer term contract. So which clubs is that? If you look down the line, Real Madrid is one of them. So he could be the new Real Madrid manager, who knows? Well,
time will tell. Let's quickly look at the sides fighting for a top 4 spot. Mainz drew 2-2 to Wolfsburg, considering at the same time that, other sides that are in the running are picking a point. Frankfurt, of course, also drew to Augsburg with a 0-0 scoreline.
But they're up there, now and they're fighting for their position. And that's what I say, that's very tough. First and second are basically done and dusted. It's that third, fourth and fifth, that's all to play for. Mainz have been disappointing of late. They've drawn too many games and lost too many. They've now sitting further down than what they should be.
Freiburg in a 5-goal thriller, they beat Hoffenheim 3-2, which made a big difference for them over the weekend,
They needed the win, obviously, and pushed them up there. Didn't have to get the result, but 3-2, the worry there, conceding the 2 goals.
Now, let's talk about what's coming up here. Leverkusen against Augsburg. Munich could do the business against Mainz, who are struggling of late.
Bayern should get the job done. I do think that they'll win. They'll get a point. It doesn't matter.
Away from home, especially.
They haven't been firing on all cylinders, and Bayern, once they get that smell of that title, they're going to just keep on going. Grind it out. Leverkusen, they have to win, have to keep the pressure on, have to try and stay in the race. But I just feel that Bayern will be too good there.
Frankfurt up against Leipzig. So many games in Germany where you just look at the matchup and you think to yourself, this should be a great game.
Well, that's a mouth-watering game.
Yeah.
If you look at exactly where they are in the title race, this is going to be the match of the weekend for me. One I would like to watch. Frankfurt have all of a sudden, right at the end of the season, just grown a third leg, They just keep on getting results, keep on grinding results. Leipzig, from where they were to where they are now, have turned things around. Great game, cracking game in prospect there. A very difficult one to call. I think a draw.
So, some cracking games to look forward to out in Germany. Now, as we know, worldwide, the Easter period has, rocked the world. And how we do here in South Africa, during the Easter period, it means Kasi football comes to the fore. And out in Nakado, they enjoyed the Hollywoodbets Easter Soccer Challenge. Let's find out more about that, Shane.
Holiday time means Kasi football. And during the Easter holidays, there's a hub of activity around most football fields in South Africa. And Hollywoodbets is at the center of it all, especially in Limpopo, with the Hollywoodbets Easter Soccer Challenge taking center stage.
We're here because of Hollywoodbets Easter Soccer Challenge. This is the 16th edition. We started in 2009 before 2010 World Cup. Our purpose is to unite the community and to identify the talent from our rural community areas around Makhado. It's like a AFCON because all the village, they make the squad, select players to make one team to represent their village. There is no player who stand on another village can participate to the village that he was not staying at. And then we usually get the best players to take them to the professional teams. We already have got one player who was at Kaizer Chiefs Development. Another one is at Stars of Africa, Farukan, is Junior Manenge. Jerry Skosana is the one who's always come here to scout the boys. And some of the boys, we take them to Orlando Pirates, Highlands Park, and another teams.
Tournaments of this nature mean so much more than just football, which naturally means they'll be well supported by the community and those competing in the event. This is a very unique tournament, one where it's a battle of the villages, and there's plenty at stake.
Competing to this tournament, for me, it's a great honor and a great achievement, because as a player, I'm here to represent Manabela as a whole. So that's a massive achievement for me.
Look, we're coming from deep rural areas. So most of the time, these young players, they don't get opportunity to be exposed, you know. So I'm very happy and excited today to see the height of that you guys have reached to have SABC in our midst. So we are very much happy and excited, and I hope it is going to encourage these young boys.
The impact of sponsors like Hollywoodbets can be felt throughout the country, and their commitment to grassroots football in provinces like Limpopo means so much more.
Since Hollywoodbets come 10 years back, it's where we start to enjoy running our tournaments, because we were struggling before. What I can say to Hollywoodbets is that we're very much happy. We appreciate them to come on our board, and we really ask them to be with us in future.
Nice to see they're enjoying the Easter Soccer Challenge out in Makhado. Thank you once again to Hollywoodbets for ensuring that they keep the beautifully South African game moving along, even at Gussie Flavor. So let's keep things moving along here and saying thank you very much, of course, to the legends in Jerry Skosana as well as Shane McGregor. I'd also like to take the time to thank you at home for taking the time to join us here on GameON once again. From myself, Sizu Mapena, and the rest of the team that is behind the scenes. Until next week, click, bang.